Welcome back to the Honeypot Podcast. Today, we dive into the crucial managed phase of idea management. After gathering a wealth of perspectives, how do you refine and organize them? Join Alexander and Fredrik as they discuss the importance of transparency, structure, and assembling the right teams to turn raw ideas into actionable strategies. Learn how to navigate from quantity to quality, ensuring that every promising idea gets its chance to shine. Get ready. Here we go.
Of the Honeypot Podcast with me, Alexander Wennerberg, and my wonderful colleague
Fredrik Heghammar.
Yes.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Having a great week.
Good. Yeah, the sun have started to shine a little bit here in Sweden.
Yes, closing up to springtime. Very nice to see the sun again. We have a few. One thing I'm really excited about is that we are seeing a lot of our existing customers growing and upgrading their licenses to use in a wider range of their organizations as well.
That's good.
That's a good sign.
Means they can see the results.
Definitely.
Speaking of that,
we're doing a little bit of a mini series, as I mentioned last time, where we're talking about the four main pillars of idea management: collect, manage, prioritize, and decide. And in the last episode, we were talking about the collect part of it, meaning how you are being able to find the right ideas and insights when you are engaging people. And today it's time for part 2, where we're going to be talking about the manage pillar of idea management.
Yes.
What's your first thoughts when it comes to managing ideas and suggestions?
I used to watch a British TV show called Location.
Okay.
There was a broker that took a couple to look at houses. So he gave them 3 options to look at and stuff like that. Never mind. I would say transparency.
Yes.
Because we're all talking about engagement, and the managed phase is very much about engagement. Not, from your audience, and the audience can be yourself as well. But we believe in a collective perspective and the power of different perspectives. And we not only believe that different perspectives will make your ideas better, but also you have to manage that and manage expectations. If I contribute, what will I gain from it? And I think transparency, for what we have seen in our experience, is the most important thing when it comes to generate engagement.
Yeah, it creates also I think that what we've seen very clearly is that it creates somewhat of a let's say positive loop, or however you want to call it, as well. That if people engage and submit their and share their ideas and spend time on sharing their ideas and solutions and suggestions to the organization, being transparent on what happens with those ideas is it's going back to the start again. That makes people feel that they want to engage the next time again and again.
Exactly.
As well. Yeah.
Exactly. And I think it's always hard for companies to can we expect people to join this effort, or will they participate in this without giving them anything to, a reason for it? And I would say for most organizations that we work with, being a part of something is enough if you get feedback and you are recognized by the collector of your thoughts and ideas.
Yes.
And that you feel that you are part of making something better. I think that's enough. So transparency, I think, is really, really important. Another thing that is important as well, if you ask me, is to make sure that you have the right participants in the step of your process.
So if we've been talking a lot about the the thing that we're often mentioning, quantity to get quality. We need a wide range of perspectives in the beginning when it comes to ideas and suggestions and solutions and thoughts around it. Now it's pretty much the time when you are moving on to the phase to manage all those perspectives, is to a little bit of, let's say, top the team or how we want to express it, and have the right people involved in the right different in the different steps. So if we are engaging a lot of different perspectives in the first step or pillar, when we are collecting all of these perspectives and ideas, this is the time to make sure that we have the right people and not just a wide range of perspectives. But how could we? Do we have like any, let's say, main things to think about when it comes to topping the team or using the right brains and people, experts in the right?
I mean, there's no playbook for it in that sense, but let's say that we're working with the double diamond method, for example, where you have a question and you ask a variety of different perspectives about their thoughts on something. That will give you a lot of options to dig into. And let's say that one of those options is of a more technical character. That means that you kind of need a technical audience to look at it, because there's no reason to ask a non-technical. It could. I mean, this is the tricky part, because sometimes it could be good to continue asking, the wrong, if I may say so, audience, because they will challenge the right audience. Mm-hmm. But it comes down to how you collect things and how you manage it. Because if you have the people in the room, it's a different thing. You can have discussions and you can question things and stuff like that. But if you do it, online, or if you just, use a tool like Hives to collect things, I think it's better to collect in different audiences, and then you can compare the data somehow. But that said, if you have a technical question and you need to know, is this viable? Is this doable? How long will it take to make this happen? And let's say that it's a program that needs to be programmed. There's no use of asking a marketing person about that, because they can never answer how long it will take to make it, and if it's doable or not. So that's one aspect of it. But on the other hand, if the technical person said, it's not doable, and you don't have a non-technical person in there questioning that, it may stop there as well. So, but it all depends on the process and how you manage it. I mean, I used to work as a facilitator, and I think, people like me are crucial to have in a room like that, to know someone who has the knowledge and the tools and the methods to questioning things in a productive way.
You have to keep the pace going as well, and challenge
and to turn every stone. There's always so many options out there, and I think I've said this before, but when I worked at Google, that's what we did all the time. We never stopped turning the stones because we had time and resource to do it, but also to challenge and to 10x, as they called it, to make sure that there's no other possibilities. Are you sure? Yes. But what about this? It's not doable just yet, but maybe in 10 years. Or 10 years, that means it's doable now if you find the right person. Stuff like that,
Yeah, definitely. And another thing, speaking about that, turning every stone and like moving things forward. One thing that I see a lot of like organizations a little bit go wrong when it comes to these kind of processes is either they have not a process at all, pretty much just like trying to wing it, or they have a way too complicated bureaucratic process. And I would say that one of the most important things when it comes to these kind of things, managing ideas and suggestions. And you mentioned transparency, and I think that the process itself should be transparent on how you're managing the ideas, but establishing a clear process, but not an over bureaucratic process. At least if you don't need one, and most organizations don't need an overcomplicated bureaucratic process, in my opinion. So I would also say that going back to the double diamond way of visualizing. If you haven't seen that, just Google double diamond. You will see how it's visualized and how the process works. But when you have captured a lot of different perspectives and ideas and suggestions, the main, let's say, job to be done for the process in the managed part is to being able to pretty much narrow down and take, let's say, go from 100 ideas into the 3 or 5 or 10 ideas that you should spend a little more time on discovering.
Absolutely. But also, I think, in the next episode, we're going to talk about prioritize, right?
Yep.
And the manage phase is more or less making the bed for priority phase.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you are scared of the word process, you can just put that aside and just take your decision document or your steering document and turn that into your workflow, if I may call it that, instead of process, if that's a too big and scary word for you. Because you kind of have to make sure in the managed phase that you get the data you need to make the decisions in priority phase. And I think that's the crucial thing. And that will also determine who's going to be involved and when and so on, and how many things are you supposed to work on, and what kind of data do you need. So I think the managed phase is about managing that. But of course, we talked about it in the first phase, collecting, because the collecting kind of sets up, the different things to collect. So they are everything is tied together, of course.
Yeah. And I think that going back to the collection phase again, that we were talking a lot about the fact that you have a great advantage if you are very clear in what you're asking for in the collection phase, having a clear problem statement or using a how might we statement, as we were talking about, as well as a formula for asking for ideas. And I think that one of the things that I've seen that you are using in a lot of workshops that you've been doing during the years are these 3 questions that are pretty much like, as soon as we've chosen or qualified ideas, when we're managing the ideas, pretty much like asking questions on the ideas, a little bit like, again, going back to the problem statement, really trying to narrow down what exact problem are we solving with this idea, and for whom are we solving the idea, and how is it possible to scale, either down or up.
Yes, start small or go big.
Exactly. So I think that even in the managed process, we're still coming back to the situation where you really have to point your idea or solution towards a problem to solve.
Yeah, and also, I don't know if we talked about it in the previous the collecting phase, but I think the 70-20-10 rule can be applied here as well, about managing, because it's about what to kind of continue working on. How do you decide that? And I would say that the 70-20-10 rule you can apply to anything, but in this case I would say that if you have a statement, a question, a problem you need to solve, let's say that you take the obvious solutions to that. That's the 70%. That's the most important thing, of course, because they're the meat and potato. And then you have the 20% should be ideas that are kind of connected to it, but a little bit more stretched. And then the 10% should be the bananas things, that doesn't have to be connected to it, but still worth looking into. So that's more like, oh, we're gonna build this car, but let's start with a t-shirt, stuff like that. That's something you can apply to it. Another thing you can apply to it is also divide the ideas into 3 different categories. It's like now, near future, and future. So where are the things that we can do now? Usually the small things, the small changes that could, generate great results. But what can we do in near future, let's say a year from now, or what can we do in 3 to 5 years from now? You make up the time frame, but that's also a good thing to divide the ideas into when you start managing them and look into them and which one to focus on and not.
Yeah, that's a great way to split it up as well, because what I've seen in a lot of cases also is that even though you're asking with a pretty straightforward or very narrowed down question or problem statement that you want to find ideas for, you might anyhow get like a few ideas that are very focused on like optimizing stuff, but you'll also get a few ideas sometimes that are very, let's say, big thinking and or disruptive or long time solutions. I think that's just a thing that you need to decide in either you or who are managing the ideas in this challenge or question, or you as a team that are supposed to be making the decisions in the end, that you really split it up and choose where are we supposed to spend our time, energy, and money right now.
Yes.
Is it on optimizing stuff from the day-to-day work, or is it going for a few big moonshots, or should we split it up in a 70-20-10 split as well? I think that's great.
Absolutely. I think that's good. Another good thing to do is to score ideas. And we usually have, what do we have? We usually work with
3 lenses of innovation.
Exactly.
Viability, feasibility, and desirability.
Yeah. And the cool thing with scoring is that you can ask different target audience, not target audience, different audiences. It may not only be the target audience. That was my saying here. So you can ask different layers in the organization, different perspectives, different competences and stuff like that, and get and then you will get a pretty good point of view or holistic view, I would say, on this idea, if it's good or not.
Exactly. And you can definitely translate that into plain English as well. Like the viability, feasibility, and desirability could just be straightforward, like, could we do this, should we do this, and how desired or sought after is the solution itself among the recipients of the solutions in the end. And if you choose to ask, let's say, you steer one of these scoring parts towards, let's say, the management team, one towards let's say, expert team on the solution, and one towards, I don't know, customers or the whole organization. You'll find it very interesting usually to compare how these different groups have been scoring.
Absolutely, and we're gonna repeat this in the next episode as well, because this is a part of prioritizing as well, and we're gonna extend our thoughts a little bit about this in the next episode. But I think managing collections is also about creating security, and the way you write the questions, the way you answer, and because you want to make it a safe place to where you can say basically anything you like. It's no good and no bad until we in the next phase, priority phase, have decided if it's good or bad, and I think that's really important as well. So there is some kind of skills here when it comes to question and managing it in that sense.
Definitely. And we've been talking a lot about like communication in earlier episodes as well, but you definitely shouldn't underestimate the communication part when it comes to the managed phase as well, because I think that you could also, like, let's say, pre-handle or pre-manage possible like problems or people being like feeling that they're not being heard in different ways, just by communicating that the thing is that we've collected as many perspectives as we can, but we will not be possible to like realize all of these ideas and solutions. It's just a way of making sure
maybe later, but not at the same time.
No, exactly. So just communicating the fact that we are using as many voices as we can, but we also have a process to choose which ones to keep exploring or keep spending time and money on as well. So just keep communicating about it.
Absolutely, because that's the beauty of this. Because I can come up with a really good solution to something, but maybe it's not, maybe it's not sustainable business wise or not good for the environment and stuff like that. Because a single person cannot know everything in an organization, and that's why you need a different layer of perspectives and different layers of competences to build on the idea together. And I think that's the beauty of this way of working. And of course, once again, if you have a tool like Hives, this will come with that system, that tool, because that's basically the fundamentals of it. That you create a process or workflow, as we call it, and follow that to make sure that you get the right people when you need them in a transparent and engaging way. And can you do it with other tools? Of course, but just be harder for you to manage.
Definitely. Great. So I think that we're pretty much wrapping up the managed part of it. We talked about in the last episode the collection phase or the collect phase, being able to use as many perspectives as possible, going for a quantity in the beginning. During this episode, we've been talking about the managed part, trying to have a clear process or a way of working to be able to make sure that we can go from quality or quantity into later quality, and being able to manage that through a clear process. Anything else that we should add in the...
I think, manage your time, because since we're talking about quantity to find quality, we need to be able to go through a lot of different ideas, and that will take time. So be sure to manage your time. Time management is crucial when it comes to innovation and continuous improvements, because you need to cover a lot of ground. And that's why, using stuff like scoring and different perspectives is key.
Definitely. So use a clear process, not overcomplicate it. Make sure that you can manage your own time with this process in an easy way. Keep being transparent. What do we say? Transparency. And keep communicating on what's happening with the ideas. And just keep communicating with everyone involved.
And one last thing.
Yes.
And I think we mentioned that in the previous phase as well. Make sure that you follow the same workflow or process or documents with every idea you're generating or working on, because otherwise you can't compare them when you're done.
Yes. Use a repeatable process every time.
And a format.
Yeah.
So you have to somehow. We're going to talk about that in the next phase, but you have to prioritize which one to work on, and how. If you have one written on a post-it note and the other one is a full report, which one will you go for? Of course, the report, and maybe the the Post-it was the good one, but you didn't follow the process, and you cut corners on getting the information.
That's a dangerous trap. It is.
That's bad management.
It is. Wonderful.
Cool.
So, collect, manage. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about prioritize, how to prioritize those ideas into which ones to go all the way with in the end. Hope to see you in the next episode, and thank you very much for tuning in this time again.
Have a good day.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Honeypot Podcast, brought to you by Hives.co. We hope you found today's insights valuable and inspiring. If you have any questions, thoughts, or ideas, we'd love to hear from you. You can easily reach us by searching for Alexander Wennerberg or Fredrik Heghammar on LinkedIn. Or feel free to drop us an email at alexander@hives.co or fredrik@hives.co. And hey, if you want to learn more about how Hives.co can help you capture insights, ideas, and feedback from your team or customers to make smarter business decisions, head over to Hives.co. It's the easiest yet most powerful tool out there for driving innovation and continuous improvement. Until next time, keep innovating, and thanks for being a part of the Honeypot community.